Not surprisingly, given we're now in a recession, there's been a big drop in the amount of money the government's collected in taxes. The figure for January was down £7 billion compared to the same month the previous year. How much of a headache could it be for the government? Well, our economics editor, Stephanie Flanders, is with me now. To be expected, I suppose, but still, these are pretty bad figures, aren't they?
Yeah, we've got used to thinking that the public finances were in a pretty bad way, and there was fairly pessimistic forecasts for these figures, but even they were exceeded. They were even worse than them. The problem is that January is supposed to be a great month for the Treasury. You get a lot of taxes, self-assessment taxes come in, corporation tax, especially from the financial sector, also a lot of city bonuses. People paying taxes on those in the past has been quite important. Of course, all of those things are down, and the result is that tax receipts overall are about £10 billion less than they were a year ago, which is going to cause a headache for the Chancellor. He actually had a forecast of £77 billion for borrowing over the whole of this fiscal year. Now almost nobody thinks they're going to reach that. They think it's going to be certainly £5 or £6 billion higher than that, maybe even worse. The other odd thing that happened today was the Office of National Statistics told us that they're going to reclassify Lloyds and the Royal Bank of Scotland as public corporations, since the taxpayer now, with all the bailouts we've done, effectively owns these companies or has a majority stake. All of their liabilities, all of their debt is now going to go on to the public balance sheet. Now in the end, in 5 or 10 years' time, when those banks have hopefully gone back off the public balance sheet, it won't make such a difference. But right in the short term, it's going to make our debt figures look really enormous.
And what impact does that have on public services, for example?
Well, that reclassification, we don't know what the impact will be. It will depend ultimately on how much these financial sector bailouts cost us down the road once we know what's happened to these banks and they've gone back into the private sector. But without any of that, the prospects for the public services are looking very tight. We know that the government's looking at very slow, maybe even non-existent growth after inflation in spending on health, education, many other areas, and cuts in a lot of other places like transport in the next few years, just after next year. And of course, the longer the recession goes on, the tighter those figures are going to have to be, because they can't run deficits like this for very long.
Our economics editor, Stephanie Flanders, thank you very much. Merseyside police have confirmed that a man detained by police in Venezuela